Uvije, the brother from the ancient mother, as usual. You know what it is. It's another Headspace album review. I'm really excited about this one. Reviewing an album from an artist who I think has made such impactful strides in, yet again, the Xhosa trap scene. Jesus, guys, I'm really proud just as Mxhosa. Let's make it tribal for a minute. Because I really feel amongst this Xhosa wave that's happening in the trap scene, there's so much camaraderie, there's so much mutual respect, there is so much acknowledgement of the fact that coming together and forging movements is way more powerful than working in dispatched individual units. So I want to send a big ups to a lot of the activity happening in Kapa. Cape Town MCs are going bananas. The trap scene truly is coming alive with great creativity. This is also what I appreciate about it. These are artists who are all doing this same kind of style in their own way. So I think there's something about what's going on in Kapa right now that is definitely echoing what I feel are the birth pains of a formidable movement. Flash Kumkani, not from Cape Town, somewhere around, you know, the Bundu, small village near King William's Down. Flash was on Kolela. Dingowaze Dolopin. Izinkev ziyatshona. I'm not that literate. Kidding. But anyways, Flash Kumkani calls himself the trap star from Izingeva. For those who don't catch the reference from the rural areas, very proud of the fact that he comes from places that are ignored in the developmental sense, because we think rural area, we think backwards, primitive, prototypical living, simple life, you know, still chopping the wood and cooking with firewood. But there's something profoundly poetic about that, and it kind of manifests itself in the artist that Flash Kumkani is. Hip-hop is forward-thinking, progressive, futuristic, flash in the pan, zoom bam bap kind of music. It transcends you into a place of ismanje manje. It says, what's going on? Let me be in the mix, let me be hip to the hop. What's the latest in fashion? So I love the fact that a brother from places that are perceived as backwards can so easily meld himself into the future forward thinking of the generation of today. It shows that a lot of these misconceptions are really just rooted in dumb myths. And if anything, what I think the rurals represent is a sense of places where culture, because of the nature of urbanization, can still have an opportunity to become more intact. And I think Flash Kumkani's sense of isiXhosa really shines through. He's one of the artists who, when he really raps, you really hear that he's rapping in a Xhosa that comes from down-rootedness. It's not the kind of Xhosa that feels fluid and street slangy. He's definitely not from PE or Cape Town or East London. He really locates himself in a place where isiXhosa Sake beckons back to formality. His language and his way of phrasing this kind of proto-Xhosa into modern hip-hop is beautiful. He manages to become swaggy. He manages to become charismatic. He manages to affirm himself while still being in the context of proudly rural. This is one thing I've always loved about Flash iKumkani, and I feel like his name really is an expression of what he feels he is, because every rapper has the right to feel like they're king. And I feel like what makes him kingly, what makes him really come at the title and perhaps might have a chance at it, is because this individual sense of being proud in his ruralness bathes itself in his music, and there's something about it that just expresses itself with a lot of humility. Flash's voice is high-pitched, his content is typical rapper, aspirational, but his tone, because of where he comes from culturally, is humble. He doesn't boast in your face so much that you feel that the cockiness blares through. He really shines an individuality and a humanity that makes him very, very likable. And that's something that as rappers y'all tend to overlook the human element. Flash's music has a lot of human element. Going back to his kind of sophomore project, iKumkani, which was affiliated with MT Records, which was very much the credit due to his kind of blow. The fact that he had a massive cosign in the form of one of South Africa's formidable hit makers, MT, I feel did a lot for kind of thrusting Flash into the forefront of SA rap pop culture. And I think with that fallout, it really became a test of what he can do. So enter Umbono Wam, very aptly titled, My Vision. What is Flash's vision? What is he trying to say to us? Very minimal, very brief. It's really just an EP. An EP that surprised me in one aspect. Trap is turn up, turn up, turn up. It's music made to build the momentum of ecstasy. It's music made to thrust you into a higher level of release. Flash on Umbono Wam is unapologetically calm and reflective and intimate. This is jarringly confusing for a trap artist, and it had me asking the questions: are South African audiences ready for intimate trap? For reflective trap? For trap music which doesn't want to turn up but turn inward? Because yo, Flash is turning inward. Very reflective project. He goes into, really the theme here is gratefulness. Grateful for where he's come, grateful for how far he's gone, grateful for the sacrifices he's made in really pushing through his struggle. The people he's met, MT, the people, the relationship he's formed, the fans that still stick through and are with him. His life, he celebrates his age. He's 24, really young. And he does all of this in a way that is intimate. He's conversational. This is not a project that you could play consistently at a club. It would bore people. And this is what I think is very interesting about this. iKumkani was very much turning up. This was Flash's kick in the door. And it's surprising that in his kind of second project, he decides to go so deep so soon. Question there. Are our audiences ready to just kind of allow themselves to introspectively go into an artist's journey? Are we there? Or are we still stuck in a place where a lot of music should just be purely for entertaining people in the capacity of dance and release and escape? Because this project does not do that. It opens up with a beautiful track featuring P.O. So I want to flash back to what I said about Flash's human element and his ruralness shining through as a sense of authenticity. Flash does this so well that as an artist you're forced to kind of play in the same place. And I think P.O. as an OG saw that there was no way he could swag past by being the typical P.O. that we know, who's English oriented, and back in the Cap City days we know P.O. for being the MC who kind of flows with a drawl that's very much New York influenced, you know. Here he dropped all of that. What a banger's clause, monumental. Thank you, Flash, for bringing out the East clause out of P.O. I didn't think it was there. Shout out to P.O. for supporting developing artists, because these rappers come from different worlds, and yet the song made so much sense. It's harmonious, the beat is laid back, and I want to talk about the production here. The production here tends to be monotonous to a point where it can drown you in the typical mold. And I think a lot of South African trap albums are suffering from that. Artists are either not looking for beats that speak to their story, or producers are not good enough to create a sonic texture that truly pulls from this country and its influences and its vibe. When you listen to the taxis, when you listen to the people buzzing, and you listen to this kind of early morning booming sensation of people going to work, coming back, when you listen to the flow of how we usher in the Friday and the weekend, there's a distinct flavor to what South Africa is about. And I'm not hearing it in all of your projects, so I blame your beat makers. Maybe that's an episode in its own. Are cats like Zuki Coke Dope and Gemini Major making young producers focus on an American molded texture at the expense of creating a sonic flow which takes us to where South Africa is? That's another question. Flash iKumkani takes us into a place that is absolutely enthralling to go into if you're interested in artists being open and being vulnerable to you, that is. And the production fails him, but Flash is so good at telling a story, at being so structurally and technically fluid about how he flows. He's really a rapper in his element. He's found this rural trap Xhosa swag that only he can deliver. And I think tracks like Umhluzi were the beginning of this archetype, and he's only driven this even further. And it's very rare for an artist to be able to do this even in the presence of real bad production, because to be honest with you, weak production yale project. And Flash carries this thing like zinkuni eziyayoteza elalini. Yeah. So in a nutshell, I want to give this project a 6 out of 10. Production was very meh. Flash stood out like the hero that he professed to be on his first album. And again, intimate trap, reflective trap, turning in instead of turning up. This is what it's doing. And it's titled Umbono Wam. I think Flash's vision is really focusing on his core, that the intimacy is his strength, the likability is his strength, the humility that he seems to have is his super charm. It gets you open, it coaxes you really into just kind of falling into this artist and maybe falling in love with him. Very solid project in terms of an artist who's sure of their artistic direction and yet is failed by the creative aspect. These things dance together, and I feel like here the vision was clear, but the palette used to help deliver it failed him. 6 out of 10. Flash iKumnkani, so much potential, so much potential. VJ, I'm out.